Most families don't lose money because of poor investments. They lose money because of poor structures and poor control. Private trust companies are an incredibly powerful method used by the ultra rich to ensure they keep firm control of their business and family assets and interests. What this means is, as we cover off on this YouTube channel extensively, use of trusts means appointing an independent third party, a corporate trustee service, a professional trustee service to control and look after your assets on your behalf, which is great because it gives you separation of ownership. It gives you all sorts of tax advantages, both today and from a legacy planning point of view. But the biggest problem with trusts is that you are giving up control fundamentally. And if you retain control, if you are your own trustee, or if you have a non-discretionary trust, the issue is most tax authorities around the world will look straight through that structure and tax you as if you just held those assets in your personal name. And actually, there is no legal separation benefits as well, because, for example, if you got divorced or someone to sue you, they would see through the trust structure because you are both the trustee and the beneficiary of your assets. What the ultra wealthy understand is that if they form their own private trust company and then they sit on that as the board of directors or as shareholders, or they have another foundation, for example, as the owner of those shares, and then they sit as council members on the foundation, because they are not them themselves as legal personal individuals acting as the trustee of their own assets, they can retain control through this single purpose entity, which is a private trust company. So there's their own private trust company. This is an incredibly powerful way to retain all of the benefits of utilizing a full trust as an estate and family wealth planning vehicle while still retaining control. Now, the important caveat of why doesn't everybody do this is because fundamentally it is expensive to open your own private trust company. And we'll set these up in often places such as Singapore, in Nevis, in Cayman, here locally in the UAE, just to name a couple of examples, Switzerland as well, but they are expensive to implement, especially if you're going to have, and we generally advise having a foundation over and above that. It is adding multiple layers to the overall estate, which again adds costs and fees. So if you've got a fairly small estate, let's say £5 million or dollars below, it doesn't necessarily make sense to start to utilize these slightly more complex family planning vehicles and tools. I would probably suggest we just look at a foundation, which gives you an element of added control plus the element of separation of ownership. But if you've got an estate of $50 million, without a doubt, setting up your own private trust company starts to make perfect sense. And we strongly advise doing it in a lot of cases for our clients. If you're in a position where you're thinking about the benefits of proper, complex wealth structures, and you don't want to lose control, or you've always had that doubt that giving control of your assets to a corporate trustee service maybe gives you a feeling of unease, this is the proper tried and tested way to get around that and retain control within yourself, your family. Reach out to ourselves to schedule a consultation and a private meeting to discuss whether this sort of solution is possibly exactly the thing that you've been looking for.